Thanks to an incredible 1-hour self-improvement course, Homer will become the owner of the nuclear plant, epically expelling Mr. Burns.
Eat crowd, old man!
It all begins with Bart and Lisa watching an episode of Itchy and Scratchy, where the cat is left without skin and is taken on a plane where Richie Valens, Big Bopper and Buddy Holly are just there.
The Big Bopper? Richie Valens? Buddy Holly? No!
Homer arrives and tells his children that today is Valentine's Day, so they would have to stay watching TV at full volume because their parents have to do something.
What about you and Mom?
Oh, we'll be upstairs in the bedroom making lovely rope ladders.
That way, Homer and Marge have a special moment in their bathtub.
Romantic.
Oh, my darling, nothing is too romantic for you. Have some more liquor.
Homer prepares everything with great eagerness to consummate his marriage that day. But Marge, despite everything, was very tired. Homer does not give up and plays a mix of songs to improve the atmosphere.
We'll get you going.
However, that was the cassette of Maggie's lullabies.
Oh, that's Maggie's mixtape. And Maggie must have gotten...
Homer can't sleep and decides to go out for a walk, seeing that everyone around him was enjoying Valentine's Day.
Oh, everyone but me.
Thanks for waking me for the bookmobile.
Homer starts thinking, believing that he was not attractive to his wife, and after seeing some ads about deleting himself, how to improve his appearance by losing weight, Homer prefers to heed a sign for technical courses in Springfield.
Thank you, outdoor advertising. You saved my marriage. And not for the first time.
Homer enters one of the rooms where he can learn how to be a stripper for his wife. Homer is surprised to see Dr. Hibbert as the teacher of that class. And while he recounts his experience as a young man, Homer begins to apply many layers of oil.
What the hell are you doing? Homer, are you already oiled?
3 coats.
That oil was for the entire class.
Homer is expelled from the class, and while he skates away with the oil looking mad cute, he slips and accidentally falls into a self-improvement class.
What would you say if I offered you the secret of true success?
Wipe me down and sign me up.
After being cleaned up, he is part of the class, and the teacher, with an unconventional teaching method, makes them see their mistakes with some Andrew Tate vibes.
Now, life is hard. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, is it?
Wrong! Life is easy! You suck!
Telling them things that will make them wake up and make them take care of their reality.
It's Pizza's fault I'm fat. Oh, I'll stop sucking. Later. Thank you!
After showing them all the material benefits he achieved, like his car and a watch with many gems,
What kind of watch do you have?
Well, I drew it on.
he proceeds to sell them his book, mentioning a force that runs through the universe and that was once called God.
We now call it Megatronics, the 48 Tips to Corporate Success.
Everyone happily receives the book, and after a very energetic way of closing the deal, Homer falls for it, paying for everything.
The yodel at the top of the corporate mountain.
Yes!
Will you write me a check made out to cash?
Good!
Homer begins to read his book, and as the first piece of advice, he reads that he should live his day as if it were his last.
I don't want to die. I'm so young. Tip 2.
Second piece of advice, Homer should not allow anyone to get in his way of getting what he wants.
Do your homework. Don't do so much homework. Learn to talk. You, let's love now.
Sounds good to me.
The next day, very early, Homer starts putting up hooks for different things, and at his work, he also makes the changes his book suggested.
Time for work. Mwah.
After that, he starts doing his job more efficiently, analysing his colleagues at work, and thus seeing how he can improve the performance of the workers at the nuclear plant.
I say Phantom Menace sucked more.
I say Attack of the Clones sucked more.
Homer takes his strategy to Mr. Burns to get a promotion, but Mr. Burns doesn't take him seriously. And Homer, confused, thinks he should follow the book's advice.
But the book said you would applaud my initiative.
And what book is that? The ape who wanted a big bonus?
Burns opens an employee trapdoor but doesn't calculate it well, so he asks Homer to jump, and many electric eels start giving him a jolt.
Trick eels!
At the Simpson house, Homer complains to his family about everything Mr. Burns does to the workers at the plant, and when Marge tries to comfort Homer, he doesn't pay much attention and goes to Moe's tavern. At Moe's, Homer continues with his complaints, and Moe suggests revenge with a brick.
If this guy's riding your rump, why don't you slap him some payback? Or give him some FaceTime with Sweet Lady Brick.
The next day at the plant, Homer considers revenge, but in his own way, bringing a bag with something special inside.
Wait till he steps on this flaming bag of Lisa's college fund.
After putting out the fire with Lisa's savings, Homer overhears a conversation between Smithers and Mr. Burns about the amount of nuclear waste they had secretly dumped. After revealing that the plant was registered under a canary's name, we see in the graph that Homer was even below the inert carbon rod.
This entire plant is in his name.
Homer imagines his teacher, who tells him he needs to get rid of the canary to be taken seriously as the plant owner. At night, Homer tells Marge what he has to do to climb the corporate ladder and succeed, but he doesn't know how to do it, because to get there, he would have to do something bad.
You have to be very quiet and listen for that little voice inside that tells you what to do.
Homer realizes for the first time that everyone always heard his marital talks, including Ned Flanders.
And it wouldn't hurt you to put up some curtains.
That same night, Homer and Bart infiltrate Mr. Burns' office and release the canary that was the plant's owner. The next day, Mr. Burns finds out about the canary's disappearance, and taking advantage of that lack of responsibility, Homer mentions to Mr. Burns that a Nuclear Regulatory Commission would be doing an inspection.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
After many indirect insistences from Homer with a hello to be taken seriously as a scapegoat, Burns gets angry.
You bumbling fool, I keep telling you I'm looking for a patsy.
Hello.
And realizing he needed someone as stupid as Homer, finally sees him as the right person.
Hello?
Mr. Burns makes a list of job announcements and more work, taking away his field day. Lastly, he announces the new head of the nuclear plant.
To any nuclear inspectors in the crowd that the titular head of the power plant is now Mr. Homer J. Simpson.
That's...
Homer, happy with his new position, fulfills the dream of many workers by throwing Mr. Burns off the terrace directly into a taxi that takes him away.
Eat crowd, old man!
With the new administration, Homer is well received by all his new employees, ending his speech by saying he would respect the working class, as they were all equal to him.
I will respect you, the working class slob, because we are all equals. And now as I ascend this crystal stair...
Already at his new job, he receives visits from many managers of different sections of the plant, realizing that being the boss wasn't all fun and games.
Oh, I need a vacation.
This is your vacation.
And since he was on vacation, Homer asks for a bit more fun, and when they agree, they all still continue working.
Homer, I'll go over the year-end profit forecast if you'll stop looking at my boobs.
No deal.
At the Simpson house, during dinner for work, Homer cannot be present, and with the help of a video call, he tries to have dinner with his family.
Lisa, I deeply resent... Don't think... With a big bowl of applesauce.
At night, Homer arrives very tired, apologizing to Marge for being late, mentioning that he had to fire many robot employees. Another day in his office, Homer, very busy, realizes that he can't spend much time with Bart, and although he didn't do it much before, he realizes that working as the head of a company like the electric plant wasn't as easy as he thought, when suddenly Mr. Burns arrives.
Mr. Burns! Where's Mr. Smithers?
He's doing 80 years on an opium bust.
And a puzzled Homer asks how he could do all the things he did without getting frustrated. Mr. Burns takes Homer to the cemetery, where he shows him everything he had lost to get where he was.
This was my fiancée, Gertrude. I was working so hard I missed our wedding, our honeymoon, and our divorce proceedings.
Mr. Burns ends up asking Homer if he understood why he brought him there. After a few tears, Homer thanks Mr. Burns, but he had other plans, revealing why he brought him to the cemetery.
Thank you for...
Mr. Burns begins his live burial, but even though he worked all night, he hadn't progressed even a quarter of the way. Homer covers him with a blanket, telling him that he no longer wants the nuclear plant, and the next day we see Homer at a barbecue enjoying the company of his family and friends, and when he plays with Bart, Bart gets rude, and they end up fighting with his dad in a friendly way. A beautiful father-son moment that won't last. Bart gets into trouble because of one of his pranks, but wanting to avoid punishment, he invents that he was kidnapped, involving several characters in his lies. If you want to see what happens in this episode, click on the video below, but first don't forget to like and subscribe.